Thanks to the support as a channel member, Richard Myers. Well, we ended up doing both. If you remember, in the last episode, we were at the start of the January transfer window, and I needed a plan about whether to balance the books for FFP or go for promotion. In the end, we sold so many players, we were able to do a little bit of both. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 9 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a big FA Cup game away against Premier League Brighton, and we're also away against West Brom in the league, and that is a league that, as you can see, we are currently top of. Since you were last with me, we have won every single football match that we've played in all competitions, including knocking fourth place in the Premier League Nottingham Forest out of the FA Cup with a 4-0 win away from home. We also knocked 20th in the Premier League Luton out of the FA Cup with a 2-0 win at home, and now we face 6th in the Premier League Brighton as our FA Cup run continues. But we've won an awful lot of football matches. This is what the league table looks like: 75 points on the board, level on points with Burnley, but with a much better goal difference and 2 points ahead now of Wolves. Dane Scarlett, still the top scorer in the league with 24 goals. And we did big transfer business too. We ended up selling Max Elaine. He went to Alaves for £10 million. What a piece of business that was in a one-year turnaround from a free transfer to a £10 million sale for a reserve. We also sold Liam Scales to Millwall. It's very handy having a tycoon-backed Millwall in our league, because that's not the first time they've bought players off of us that we didn't necessarily need to keep knocking around. And we also got rid of a bunch of fringe players and youngsters on various loans, lots of players leaving the club, and all of that meant that we were able to bring in 4 players and still operate at a transfer profit. So Joel Ndala is on loan from Southampton till the end of the season when he joins us permanently. And as you can see, he's come in and made quite the impact. He's the additional winger that I was talking about bringing in the last episode. He's here, and it's working out quite nicely for him. We've also got Freddie Woodman, who's come in from Luton. He'd actually started every game for Luton in the Premier League, and has come in for us for 2.6 million, was happy to come in and be our backup. So he's our backup goalkeeper, hasn't played for us yet. Travers is doing good, but we've got a guy who's played every game in the Premier League until he signed for us, just sat on our bench, which is a massive upgrade on backup keeper from what we had before in the shape of Salvi, who moved on. We also got Oliver Arblaster, who's a 25-year-old English central midfielder, also defensive midfield player. He was at Sunderland previously, and offers us a little bit more competition for places in central midfield. He'd previously cost Southampton £21 million just a few years ago, still only 25. So a very useful squad player for us to have knocking around. And then we took a player off of a title rival, Jobe Bellingham, arriving from Wolves. He actually scored against us for Wolves earlier in the season, and £9 million to bring him in. They spent £28 million on him and still only 24. So again, picking up a couple of bargains. Not only is he another option for us in midfield, also allows us to play with a number 10 because that's his natural position really, and also is an additional body as a backup striker for us as well. Again, not really played for us yet, started one game at centre forward, but definitely filling up the squad with more quality backups that we didn't really have before. And let's face it, the form we're in, why would we be giving debuts to anybody? We need to have a poor performance before these new players start to get into the team, which brings us to the Brighton match. And this is the team for Brighton. We've got Travers in goal, a back four of Amrouche, Gozzi, De Winter and Donnelly. De Winter, by the way, is in the Championship Dream 11, as is Keating. Look how good Keating is. My boy, I made him. Did I mention that he's my boy? But Amrouche, Gozzi, De Winter, Donnelly. We've then got Eccles at the base of the midfield, Keating and Osborne ahead of him, and Ndala on the left, Aguier on the right, Scarlett up front. And let's get the team submitted and see if we can pull off a third Premier League scalp in this year's FA Cup run. Certainly away from home against a Premier League team is always handy for balancing the old books anyway. But we are starting to get towards the business end of the FA Cup. And if we keep knocking out Premier League teams, and if we're going to be a Premier League team next season, which is looking increasingly likely, there comes a point where we start to think, could we win the FA Cup? if the draw goes our way. I mean, Dane Scarlett's put us ahead after 2 minutes there against Brighton. We beat Forest 4-0. Forest are going to be in the Champions League next season. They're still fourth in the Premier League now. We beat them 4-0 at their place. We are a very good team on our day and in incredible form. And as you can see, we've started things off with a bang against a Brighton team who potentially don't know what's hitting, which is, I'm excited. Because what comes after the 5th round of the FA Cup, and if anyone says the 6th round, they're getting banned from commenting on the channel forever. Is it the quarterfinal, or is there a round before the quarterfinal after the 5th round? I don't ever remember people mentioning the FA Cup 6th round. I feel like that might be the quarterfinal, which means you're just one game away from Wembley, and we're 2-0 up. And Osborne has just scored an absolute worldie. Dane Scarlett's picked up a knock, and I'm actually thinking in terms of, well, do we just take him off? We're already 2-0 up. Obviously, we're a lesser team without Scarlett, and we do want to win the match, and we do want to progress in the FA Cup, but the priority is to get to the Premier League, and that's much tougher to do if Scarlett gets a proper injury. So We'll give him until half-time. He does seem to be recovering. It says a pulled groin. Aguiar has now picked up a knock as well. Progressing in the FA Cup's all well and good, but at what cost? If we lose 2 key players, I think we take them both off at half-time. And if it lets Brighton back into the game, then so be it. But we don't want to risk injuries. So Bonner comes on, and we'll also bring on... Illing's not really fit. Rodoni can come on that right-hand side. And we'll actually swap those two over, I think, and play them that way around. This is where Bellingham would have been handy. But, of course, he's cup-tied, didn't join us until deadline day. So not able to get him involved. We've had 2 shots on target and scored them both. We are a team in very, very good form. Brighton also only had 2 shots on target. So, fingers crossed, they just don't show any ambition. And we cruise through to the next round of the FA Cup. Amrouche is tiring. Boniface can come on for him. Donnelly's tiring. Bree can come on for him. We'll save our final substitution in case we pick up any more injuries. Keating is a yellow card away from a suspension. We don't really want to miss him after he missed a couple of months of the season through injury already. We've been noticeably better since he's returned to the team. So I think we do take him off. Irogbenum can come on for him. Again, it would have been handy to have Blaster to come on there, but another one who's cup-tied. This is the problem with bringing them in late in the window. They become cup-tied. But then at the time, we weren't really anticipating having an FA Cup run, but this has all been very comfortable against another team that would be expecting to play European football next year. Boniface trying to play the ball forward for Bonner to chase on to. He can't get in between the defenders, get in behind them, but it's the 89th minute of the match. If Brighton get back into this from here, we can consider ourselves very unlucky. Gozzi plays it forward to Rodoni. Rodoni turns, goes past 3 men and tries to poke it through to, I think it was Irogbenum who was running through. Doesn't quite get to him, but it was a lovely run from Rodoni, and Boniface doing well to get the tackle in there. That's surely offside. Referee? It's been given. Enciso looked like he was a mile offside, and Brighton might be dragging themselves back into the game, and they don't deserve it. We've been the better team here. Where's the VAR in the FA Cup? Because that's looked offside there as well. Can we hold on? Bonner tries to poke it through to Osborne, but it doesn't get to him, and it's back with the Brighton keeper, and they're playing it through our middle again. And if they grab an equaliser here, I'm going to be quite upset about it, because we've been so good and so in control for the entire match. It's just a bit bottly to throw it away from here when you're so close to another huge FA Cup victory. Cross comes in. They've hit the crossbar, I think, or at least scraped the paint off the top of it, and they are firing some warning shots. We've still only had the 2 shots on target. We've done a bit of a mugging in the end, but importantly, we have won. We are in the hat for the next round. That will do very nicely. De Winter's now going to need a little bit of a rest, which, you know what, at 27 years old, he really shouldn't need to be resting midway through the season, but we'll send him on a little holiday anyway, because I like to keep my players fresh. So he can have a couple of weeks off just in the middle of February, because why not? He needs a mid-season break. But we are in. We're into the quarter-final of the FA Cup. We don't know who we're going to play yet, but for now, our attention is turned towards West Brom in the league. In fact, balls to West Brom in the league. I'll play that one off camera. I think we need to keep going with this FA Cup run. So the second match today will be the FA Cup quarter-final. I'll obviously let you know what happens against West Brom and Sunderland, but we can't ignore that that's happening, and I don't want to come back that soon for the next episode. So FA Cup coming up again. We're gonna win the FA Cup. Well, there's lots of good news. We beat West Brom, we beat Sunderland, and it's Sheffield United who were above in the league in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. But we are starting something of an injury crisis. If we head to our medical centre, goalkeeper Mark Travers has dislocated his shoulder. I'm now very, very happy I spent that money on Woodman. We've also lost Aguier. He's got a calf strain. Radoni's going to be out injured. Keating has missed every match since the previous one you saw with pulled ankle ligaments, but should be back today. Illing has also been out injured. It's not ideal, but we can just about piece together a team for Sheffield United. It does involve Woodman coming in, who thankfully wasn't cup-tied. Keating isn't fully fit, but De Winter has just returned from his lovely holiday and has got a nice tan, so at least he's happy. But we've also got Illing, who's only just returning from injury as well. So it's going to be Woodman in goal, a back four of Amrouche, Gozzi, De Winter and Donnelly. Irogbenham at the base of the midfield because Eccles is suspended, which is also injury crisis stuff. Keating and Osborne in midfield, and then Undala on the left, Illing on the right, and Dane Scarlett up front. We've already beaten Sheffield United in the league this season. We are above them in the league, and we've won every match this calendar year, I think, in all competitions. We should be about to book ourselves a spot at Wembley and an FA Cup semi-final. It's the easiest. We don't want to. There's no easy matches. Get your cliches out, but it is theoretically the easiest match we've had in this cup run. But Football Manager is a cruel rascal at times. Low Illing has picked the ball up there, slots it through to Osborne, who's burst through for midfield, and that is a very comfortable way to open the scoring. Osborne had all the time in the world there, and it is 1-0 to Coventry, and this front four is so dangerous, and Osborne just got so much space to play into there, and that's 1-0, and just don't let him back in now. Just be relentless with it. Osborne picking the ball up again, back to goal, plays it back to Gozzi. Gozzi all the way back to Woodman, and he gives it to De Winter, who, nice tan, very nice tan on that boy. Irogbenham lays it out to Amrouche, and now Undala into Osborne. Oh, look at this football that we're playing here. This is beautiful stuff. Illing coming back towards our boys again. De Winter just starts things off again from centre-back. I mean, pretty much every player in the team has had a touch of the ball here. If we end up scoring, it's going to be one of the greatest goals in history. I'm fairly confident at this point, every one of our 11 players has touched the ball since the Sheffield United player did, but they've just won the ball back and now they're going to go and score. They're not. They've given it to Scarlett. Scarlett lays it off to Illing and it's 2-0. I mean, after all of that beautiful passing, they finally won the ball back and then gave it back to us immediately. Silly gooses. But this is just so sloppy. And Scarlett, I'm surprised he doesn't go on it on his own. He's got space to run into himself, but takes the more difficult option and plays a beautiful pass into Illing. And that's 2-0. Still less than 20 minutes gone. We start games well. And we've started this one very well today. And fingers crossed we don't balls it up from here. Wembley awaits. Keating to Donnelly. And he tries to play it forward to Illing, but can't find him. And it does give Sheffield United a rare moment of possession, but they've given it away to Scarlett again. They just can't cope with the pace and the pressing from our front three. We are just on them constantly. And now Osborne wins the ball back and Undala shoots from range. And we're very good at this whole team pressing with the front three, front four, however you want to refer to him. Osborne basically plays as a number 10 bursting out of midfield, so it's effectively a 4, and we are just constantly putting this defence under pressure. And Ndala has so much space to pick his spot, and it's pushed around the post by the Sheffield United goalkeeper. And now we've got a corner where we're also a huge threat. Illing's going to hit an in-swinger looking for Scarlett, can't find him, and they managed to scrape it clear. But Sheffield United haven't even had a shot. We have been all over them. Irogbenham is going to take the corner from the other side, looking for that in-swinger, again looking for Scarlett. It falls to Ndala, and now Irogbenham again, and he scores, and it's 3-0. Sheffield United still haven't had a shot. We are playing some of the best football I've ever seen a team of mine play in a Football Manager save. This Coventry team is a bit special, certainly at Championship level. Look at us go. And I mean, we've got to start looking ahead to next season, and potentially as a Premier League team, a lot of these boys are going to be able to make the step up. Normally you have to do a full rebuild, but I mean, we've played so many Premier League opponents in this FA Cup run. I think we stand a really good chance, which will be I mean, they've had a shot. We could win. We could be playing in Europe next year. We're 2 more wins away from winning the FA Cup and qualifying for the Europa League. That would be absolutely insane if we managed to do that from the Championship. I don't know if I'd ever won the FA Cup from the Championship before. That would be quite a nice thing to do in my final FM24 save. But it's Sheffield United with the ball again, and they're actually finally going to get a shot now. They are enjoying a little bit of possession, but Amrouche just takes it back off them, and now Keating to Scarlett. Osborne releases Ndala, who has just slotted straight into this team as if he's been here forever, and unfortunately can't get past his man there, but Keating wins it straight back. It's Ndala again, and it's already a 5th goal in a Coventry shirt for Ndala, and he is... he's having a lovely old time. We're having a lovely old time. It's 4-0. We're in the FA Cup semi-final. I haven't even been paying attention to what other teams are left in this competition. But if this opens up right, this could be a fun thing. I guess Crystal Palace and Arsenal, obviously we're rooting for Palace there. We want all of the weaker teams to make it through. We want to win it. I mean, look at the run we've been on. It's time we just accepted we want to win the FA Cup this season. Our aspirations for the season have changed. It's not just about getting to the Premier League. We want to get into Europe. Right, Boniface comes on at left back. Keating, who came into the match tired, he can come off and let Rodoni come on. And we're also going to save Dane Scarlett for another day. Bonner's going to come on up front for him. I was looking for Bellingham, but of course Bellingham cup tied, so can't come on up front. This would have been the ideal time for him to come on and get like 20 minutes at the end of a match that we've already got won. But Ndala, oh, that's a rough pass, but Gozzi made it look less horrible. And Ndala now charging forward, gives it to Osborne. Osborne, ball through to Bonner, and Bonner, it's only a 3rd goal of the season for him. It's been disallowed as well. Bless him. He is suffering from Dane Scarlett being as dominant as he's been, but he does still have high potential. He's still very young. Right, Ealing's going to come off for Mason Clark. And then for the final change, we'll take off Gozzi and leave the fullbacks to be tired. We normally try and change the fullbacks, but Donnelly tiring a bit, but I don't want to have to send another centre-back away on a holiday, and Gozzi hasn't had a holiday yet. So hopefully by resting him for 10, 15 minutes at the end of this one, we can avoid having to send him away on a lovely little trip. We've got chance for number 5 here. We're booking our spot in the semi-final in style. Mason Clark finds McCullough, Rodoni, and Ndala's got loads of space. Bonner was there, and once again, he's unlucky. It's turned round for another corner, and we might score this. It won't be Bonner who scores it. Although it is Bonner who's lining up at that near post. Irogbenham, he's aiming for the far post. De Winter's there, can't get his header towards goal, but Mason Clark, club captain, of course, although he's kind of lost his place. And that's the end of that. And that should be us into the FA Cup semi-final. Hopefully we get to see the draw before the end of the episode, before the next match. When is the draw? When is the draw? I want to see the draw. We'll show you the draw regardless, because we want to know who we're playing. Here we go then. FA Cup semi-final draw. There's no easy, I was going to say there's no easy game. Sorry, Spurs, didn't notice you there. Obviously, we want Spurs. Let's view the draw. So we'd like, I was going to say we want to be at home. It's at Wembley, obviously. Steve Bold is here, so he's going to draw us against Arsenal to give them the easy draw, I guess. We are at home. We have the home dressing rooms. Go on, give us Spurs. Chelsea. I have no idea how good Chelsea are in this version of the future. A North London derby in the other semi-final as well. Chelsea are 8th in the Premier League. So we've beaten 2 teams above them in the league. Both Forest and Brighton are above them. And we've beaten both of them. So who knows? Maybe we've got a chance. And it sets us up very nicely for the next episode as well, because Burnley, who are the team who have just gone back above us at the top of the Championship while we were faffing around in the FA Cup, we play them the match before Chelsea. So the next episode is obviously going to be Burnley and Chelsea, which hopefully will be a title decider and an FA Cup semi-final. That's quite the episode. You're not going to want to miss that one, boys and girls. But if you've enjoyed this one, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.